Yeah.
Okay, so we can begin?
Yes.
Okay, great. It's actually quite nice to see that so many people are coming for this Lunch and Learn program. I used to work in cryptocurrency exchanges, and we didn't have these things yet, right? So these things, this program that you guys have, I think that's pretty awesome. It's
Which
initiative.
cryptocurrency firm you work with?
I used to work in DigiFinex and then Biki. So those were
Oh,
the centralized exchanges, right? And then, yeah, okay, well, since we're talking about that, I realized at one point we were listing a lot of DeFi coins like Compound or Synthetics, Aave, right? All the DeFi coins. But every day we're doing BD, every day that we're doing sales, we don't have time to research deep into it. So one day I realized, hey, there must be a trend here. Why is it every coin that we're listing on our exchange is now labeled DeFi? So I knew there was something in here, and I quit my job to focus on it. And I spent the last 1 year working in DeFi. Okay, so my role generally most of the time is in DeFi asset management. We plan portfolios for clients. We help them invest into different smart contract platforms, so on and so forth. And then I also do some lecturing on the side with Yun Han. So when she asked me whether I wanted to do a class like that, I said, yeah, sure, okay. And she said, what topic? And I said, why not something new? And what's new in the market right now is this new project called Polygon or Matic. Okay, previously called Matic. So today we are going to talk about how Matic appears to most of the cryptocurrency industry like a money printer. All right, in my sense, I believe it's like a money printer. This is like a meme, right? The money printer is like a meme. Like we usually refer to the US government and their money printer whenever they want to create more stimulus, right? So in terms of cryptocurrencies, I find that Polygon is quite similar to a money printer as well. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the scalability and profitability with the Polygon network. Let's start with talking about Polygon. Okay, this was formerly known as Matic. In 2017, this was a project that launched. They called it Matic back then. And then in 2019, Binance did an IEO for Polygon network, and they raised $5.6 million. What does Polygon do? Polygon helps Ethereum to scale with many different solutions, a lot of different rollups, a lot of different sidechain solutions. Okay, and the native token of Polygon is this coin called Matic. Matic is used for governance, Matic is used for security, and as well as gas for transaction fees. Okay, so in terms of governance, you can do your voting. In terms of security, you are keeping the network validated. You're validating the network with your proof of stake mechanisms. And for your gas, it's just like using Ethereum or BNB as your gas to pay for transactions. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is Polygon. We are not going to go too technical today into the details of what Polygon does, because I believe, like, when you go to a driving school and you learn how to drive a car, you're only concerned about getting from point A to point B safely, right? The driving instructor doesn't care to test you how does the engine work, how does the internal combustion engine work, how does the electrical circuits work. They don't ask that, right? They want to know the practical application and whether they can use that. So for most people, I believe this is the conversation that is relevant. So let's discuss how the Polygon bridge works so that we can understand further from here. Okay. Now imagine you have root tokens. Okay, root tokens are your coins that exist on the main chain, on the main net of Ethereum. Okay, in order to use Polygon, you have to deposit the root tokens into a contract and lock them there. Okay, so you lock your ERC20 tokens into a contract, lock it away, and only when you lock it away, then you will have the opportunity to mint a child token on the Polygon network. Okay, so let's say you have a coin like WBTC, and that exists on Ethereum as an ERC20 token, right? But if you want to move your WBTC to Polygon, you have to deposit WBTC into the contract, lock it away, and then Polygon will mint a WBTC token onto the Polygon network. Okay, so this minting process happens. And then once you've minted this coin, this child token, this WBTC on Polygon, can then be used in all their dApps. Okay, it can be used in all the applications. And if you want to withdraw your WBTC back to Ethereum, you must first burn the Polygon version, right? You burn the Polygon WBTC, and then the contract will unlock your original WBTC that you deposited. So far, so good? Everyone following so far? Okay, so this is how we bring tokens from Ethereum over to Polygon. I think the Ethereum situation is quite familiar for most of you. I mean, you all work in the industry. I think you all know the entire story about Ethereum, especially in the last 1 year. Since 2018 January, we fell into a bear market, right? From 2018 January, we undergone this 3-year period called crypto winter, right? And for a long time, Bitcoin was staying under 5 digits, right? 3,000, 8,000, 9,000, all around that region. For a very long time, we stayed there, and people were wondering if we'll ever come back. Now, in the middle of 2020, after the March COVID panic, in the middle of 2020, we pulled ourselves out of the bear market. And I think it was driven largely by Ethereum decentralized finance, right? DeFi became very popular in June or July 1 year ago. And then it really sparked everyone's imagination. We started to see more volumes coming back in. We started to see people buying the coins because they needed to use it. We started to see different alternatives starting to pop up to challenge Ethereum. Correct? We've seen chains like Binance Smart Chain. We've seen other projects on Solana. We've seen other projects on Avalanche. They all came because they felt that there were some challenges with Ethereum. But Ethereum has been doing well. Ethereum has been doing extremely well, even with all these challenges. The total value locked in all the smart contracts and applications currently is more than $50 billion. Right? At its peak, it was almost $100 billion. At its peak, it was probably around $90 billion. So that's a lot of money. Okay, we started maybe last year. We started last year at single-digit billions, and now we're at 50 billion. So the growth rate is extremely, extremely fast. There's also a lot of talk for Ethereum to progress into Ethereum 2.0. There's also transitioning from proof of work to proof of stake. So a lot of scalability, a lot of discussions about fee burning when it comes to Ethereum, but we are not there yet. We are not there yet, okay? There's a lot of nice plans, a lot of big visions, but each time these things happen, we push back the delays, right? I think for those of you who have been in crypto for a while, I think even as early as 2017 or even earlier than that, you started to see a lot of talks about how we can upgrade Ethereum, right? And it is now speculated that hopefully in 2022, we get there, okay? So what are the main problems with Ethereum? The problems that we need to solve, the problems that we need to upgrade Ethereum for. This is something that you're all very familiar with. Using Ethereum is super expensive. It is very congested. And there's so many delays every time we make an upgrade, right? Using any smart contract is going to cost you a lot of gas. And then after you pay the gas, you got to wait maybe 15 minutes, maybe 1 hour, depending on what your settings for the gas are. And then every time we are bullish about a new update, it gets pushed back further. Okay, so these are the problems with Ethereum. We want to scale. We want to make things, we want to put more activity on the network, but we can't. Okay, now this is where Polygon comes in. How does Polygon help? Polygon's main product is an SDK, all right? It's a software development kit that allows you to create many different scaling solutions. ZK rollups, optimistic rollups, a lot of these different solutions, okay? The idea is to make transactions faster and cheaper, all right? This is in direct contrast to what Ethereum is doing, right? Ethereum is slow, Ethereum is expensive, but Polygon has solutions to make Ethereum faster and cheaper. We could probably talk about the technical side of things, but I think the point that concerns most people, or the point that interests most people, the point that captures people's attention is how to make money, right? I mean, like, I think you guys had a class or had a session last week or last month about PancakeSwap and other liquidity providing platforms. So let's focus on the place we can make money in Polygon today, okay? This is a topic that's close to everyone's heart, so let's talk about how to make more money. To give you a snapshot of where Polygon stands. This is Polygon in relation to all the not to the all. This is Polygon in relation to the other popular platforms. Ethereum was a very popular DeFi blockchain, right? It started in, I mean, like as far as DeFi goes, we launched in 2020 with Compound and Balancer starting their liquidity mining programs. And then all the other swaps came about, right? Then we have Sushi Swap, Uniswap started giving out their own tokens. We have a whole bunch of other protocols like Aave and Curve. A lot of this DeFi movement was born on Ethereum. But we know that Ethereum has challenges. And Binance, being a top exchange with all the liquidity, all the resources, they launched their own centralized, decentralized finance solution, CDFI. They launched Binance Smart Chain, which was meant to be a lot faster, a lot cheaper, okay? But there were some criticisms about the validators, too many of them being centralized within Binance's control. And so Polygon, which was already building for the last couple of years, also entered the picture. Okay, so take a look at some of these metrics. I've tabulated some of these metrics for you. Total unique addresses. Obviously, Ethereum is the largest. Okay, Ethereum has got 160 million unique addresses. Binance Smart Chain has half of that. And when it comes to Polygon, which is one of the newest ones, it's only got 15 million addresses on it. That shows you how much of the assets on Ethereum haven't moved over to Polygon yet. How many of the users on Ethereum have not converted to Polygon yet? Okay. What about the number of decentralized applications? Ethereum, we have thousands of decentralized applications, right? We have stablecoin platforms, we have exchanges, we have NFT minting platforms, we have lending and borrowing platforms. Many of these fall under the category of DeFi. Okay, so Ethereum, we have 2,500, somewhere around there. It's probably always growing every day. The number is always growing every day. On Binance Smart Chain, we're probably about 1,000. Okay, and on Polygon, a lot of these applications are still being built. Look at Polygon. Polygon with 400 dApps is only a fraction of Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain. Now, many of the dApps on Polygon, they are actually just adaptations of Ethereum dApps. For example, Curve, for example, Sushi, they exist on Ethereum. And then when Polygon launched as a scaling solution, these applications also launched on Polygon. Okay, now talk about scaling. Let's look at the TPS, the transactions per second. Ethereum already has a transaction per second limit of 15 TPS. Okay, obviously this is higher than Bitcoin, but 15 TPS, that's a very, very long way from saying that this is a solution that can handle large volumes, right? People's criticism of Ethereum is that the TPS is so low. Visa, MasterCard, they as centralized solutions, they are handling 40 to 60,000 transactions per second. How can blockchain dream of competing when a TPS is in double digits, right? Centralized solutions are offering 40 to 60,000 transactions per second, okay? So Ethereum has a lot of room to grow. There's a lot of room to improve. Binance Smart Chain does a little bit better. Binance Smart Chain does 60 to 100 TPS, but Polygon is where it really shines. Polygon's TPS is thousands of transactions per second. Okay. Now, in terms of how costly the transactions are, I've just taken a sample transaction. Okay, a sample transaction on each of these platforms. So to take a look at the fourth point, cost of a swap transaction. This is the cost to make a trade on a decentralized exchange. On Ethereum, it costs about $5 to $10 worth of ETH, right? On Binance Smart Chain, it costs, a couple of cents, a lot less, pretty attractive, 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, somewhere around there. But Polygon, you won't even feel the cost. When I was trading on Polygon, I realized it doesn't even impact the bottom line at all. You can make a couple of mistakes, you can cancel your trade, you can decide to deposit and withdraw in the same minute because you change your mind, and it doesn't affect your bottom line at all. Okay. And in terms of how big the protocols and smart contracts are, take a look at the total value locked in these platforms. On Ethereum, you have $50 billion of TVL. On Binance Smart Chain, about 25 billion. And on Polygon, 5 billion. Okay, so the room for Polygon to grow, you can see that is very, very large. Even just to catch up to Binance Smart Chain, it is still very achievable. Okay, so what can we do on Polygon? Take a look at these applications. I just put up the top applications on each chain. On Ethereum, on Binance Smart Chain, on Polygon, you'll find that there are a few common things. Okay, for example, Aave appears under Ethereum as well as Polygon as the top decentralized application. Exchanges like Curve, exchanges like PancakeSwap, QuickSwap, Sushi, these are all decentralized exchanges, right? They also are huge, huge applications on each chain. So you can see that the top decentralized applications for each chain, they generally are either money markets or marketplaces, right? Money markets include things like lending and borrowing, collateralized lending, right? That is your loans platforms. Basically, it is a decentralized bank. Okay, so the top dApps on each chain is usually either a decentralized bank for lending and borrowing, or a decentralized exchange for buying and selling your tokens. Okay, so I think you can see that on this slide over here. These are the top opportunities on each chain. So what are the benefits of yield farming on Polygon? I think some of you are quite experienced with yield farming by now. At least you have been exposing yourself to the language. At least you know what an LP token is now. At least you know what is impermanent loss. I think you guys are quite aware of, right? Or what is yields? What is APY? What is APR? So let's talk about yield farming on Polygon. Yield farming is what dragged us out of the bear market in Ethereum. Okay, but what about how it grows from here? Where does it progress from here? It progressed with Binance Smart Chain because Binance Smart Chain offered a very cheap and fast alternative. Centralized, yes, but it's cheap and fast. Okay, Polygon also attempts to do the same thing. Polygon is very new, which means that the yields are a lot higher. Polygon is also very cheap, which means the compounding is faster and cheaper. So when you put these two together, when you put higher yields, when you put faster compounding, when you put cheaper compounding together, you have one result. You will print money faster than what the US government is doing in terms of stimulus. Okay? This is what the effect is going to be. Okay, so somebody asked the question, why is compounding on Polygon faster and cheaper? The reason for this is because Polygon, the gas fees are a lot more efficient. Okay, that means every transaction allows you to do it cheaper and faster. This is because a lot of these transactions don't take place on the main chain. They take place on the side chain. Okay, so that's why we call Polygon a scaling solution. Now, if you don't want to get too technical, that's fine. You can just take it that this is where the efficiency is. Okay, Polygon does this a lot faster and cheaper. Okay, so let's show you the first point, right? The first point we were talking about where your APRs are higher. So let's demonstrate where your APRs are higher. After that, we'll talk about the compounding. Okay, so to see the higher APRs, let's take a look at Sushi. Okay, Sushi is one of my favorite platforms. Sushi is basically what launched our cryptocurrency asset management firm because we were early farmers on SushiSwap. Okay, you know, back when SushiSwap was a fork of Uniswap, and everyone came in thinking, wow, this platform with so many emojis, it looks pretty weird, but it's kind of cute, you know, it's kind of cool. Let's try it out and see if we can make money. Now, that was probably only in September last year. That was September last year when Sushi launched. Okay, so we began as very early farmers on Sushi, and this is one of my favorite pairs. All right, pairing a stable coin, USDC, with Ethereum, your main native token of the platform. Okay, so this liquidity pair is for you to make markets on USDC and ETH. Okay, now if you were to be a farmer on Ethereum, on Sushi, what you'd make, as you can see on the right side, is 12.23%. Okay, your yields for stablecoin Ethereum on Sushi, on Ethereum chain, are 12.23%. But if you were to do the same pair on Polygon with the same platform using Sushi, you can see that the yields are 39.24%. The yields are more than triple on Polygon as compared to Ethereum for exactly the same thing. Okay? For exactly the same price risk, for exactly the same volatility, you are experiencing 3 times the yields on Polygon as compared to Ethereum. Why is that the case? First of all, Polygon is very new. Okay, Polygon is very new. Not many people have come into the pools yet. So if you can take a look at the center column, on Ethereum, right? You can see in the center column, it says 333 million, right? There's $333 million of assets for USDC and ETH locked on Sushi on an Ethereum chain. But for Polygon, you've only got $80 million of assets that locked on it. Okay, this means this market is very new. The rewards are being distributed to very few people inside, which is why the yields are so high. Okay, but the yields are also paid differently. In Ethereum, the yields are paid in Sushi coins. On Polygon, the yields are dual. You get Sushi as well as Matic coins. Okay, so this is where your extra rewards come from. All right. So this is Sushi. What about another platform? Okay, so let's compare the yields on Curve. Curve is a decentralized exchange that specializes in only stablecoin swaps. Okay, and this one is an example I'm going to show you. Curve has a liquidity pool for the 3 most popular stablecoins: DAI, USDC, and USDT. Okay, so on the top half of the screen, what you're seeing is Curve pools on Ethereum. On the bottom, you're seeing what the yields are for the same pool on Polygon. So take a look at the one on Ethereum, right? Take a look at the one on Ethereum. You have your base APY of 3.09%. Your rewards are 1.97%. And an additional 1.46% of SDK RA. But what about on Polygon? On Polygon, your base APY is already higher. It's 3.57%. Your rewards for CRV is 2.24%. It's already higher than what Ethereum Curve is paying you. And then you get an additional 5.14% of Matic as additional bonuses. Okay, so that shows you consistently in Polygon, you are making a lot more yields for doing exactly the same thing with exactly the same platform. Okay, so this is where yields are a lot higher already, and that's where you can make one level of money. All right. So earlier we talked about Polygon being able to make that money through 2 different means, right? It gives you higher yields, first of all, which is what we just discussed. We discussed higher yields on Sushi, higher yields on Curve, right? But apart from higher yields, the compounding being faster and cheaper also contributes to the growth. Okay, so let's talk about the compounding next. On Binance Smart Chain, this kicked off, in terms of yield auto compounders, this really kicked off on Binance Smart Chain. You saw applications like Beefy, you saw applications like AutoFarm. Okay, but these 2 yield compounders, these 2 auto compounders have also moved and diversified and branched off to Polygon. So Beefy and AutoFarm, they also exist on Polygon. Now, why do they do that? It's because Polygon is cheap and fast, which makes their job extremely easy to do. So to understand this, right, I think many of you know the power of compound interest. You know, it's very famously said that compound interest is like what? The 8th wonder of the world, right? You know how every financial consultant or insurance agent, when they want to talk to you about your savings plan or insurance plan, they'll show you, you know, if you put in this amount of money every month for the next 20 years, your growth is going to be exponential, right? So that is the power of compound interest. The problem with compound interest is that when you leave it in a bank, your compound interest probably only gets paid to you once a year or once a month if your bank is very friendly towards that. Okay, so once a year, once a month, compounding. That's, you know, that's great, it's better than nothing, but compared to what Polygon can do. Polygon, with Beefy and AutoFarm, they compound your returns a couple of times a minute, 10 times a minute. All right, so imagine interest being paid to you 10 times a minute, and each time your next interest is being paid, it is growing from the previous base. Your base keeps growing so that every 10 minutes or every time it compounds, it grows more and more yield. All right. Now, this is the difference in compound interest compared from your traditional bank to what yield farming platforms like Polygon and Beefy are doing for you. Your compound interest doesn't just grow once a year. Your compound interest grows as fast as 10 times a minute. Okay? Even if they were being slow, they will still probably compound at least 4 times an hour, at least 6 times a day, somewhere around there. Okay? That is a lot more accelerated than 1 time a year. Okay? So the cheap gas fees on Polygon are what permits these platforms to do that. Auto compounders like Beefy, auto compounders like AutoFarm, they rely on Polygon's cheap and fast compounding to do this. So let's explain this. Okay, let's explain this to you. All right? How do they work? Let's suppose you got individual assets in your wallet, right? You got some WBTC, which is a ERC20 version of Bitcoin, and you got some WETH, which is a ERC20 compatible version of Ethereum. All right, so you have these two loose assets sitting in your wallet. If you want to make an LP, you just create an LP token by depositing into a smart contract. You add liquidity to the decentralized exchange, and you get an LP token, right? Now, with this LP token, it symbolizes your liquidity that you deposited on the exchange. So take this liquidity token, this LP token, you can treat it like any other cryptocurrency. This LP token, you must stake it on a farming contract. When you stake it there, you earn incentives such as sushi coins or such as Matic coins, right? So these are the yields that you earn. Now, this is what an auto compounder does, right? This is the step that an auto compounder does for you. Instead of just earning the sushi and Matic, what the auto compounder does is this. They say there's sushi and Matic, they're going to sell that. They dump it. They dump the sushi and Matic, and they use that to buy more WBTC and ETH. Okay, so they harvest periodically for you. They harvest the sushi and Matic, and they convert it to more coins so that they can add that back into the LP tokens. So they keep growing the number of LP tokens for you. Okay, so they pair up the WBTC and ETH again, they pair it up and put it back into the farm so that you have more LP tokens. Now, when you have more LP tokens, what happens? Your sushi and Matic gets emitted even faster. And then you take the sushi and Matic and you sell it back for BTC and ETH again, put it back into an LP, and now your LP position is even bigger. When your LP position is even bigger, you produce sushi and Matic even faster. And the process repeats and repeats and repeats a couple of times a minute. Okay, this is what a yield auto compounder does. They use your incentives, swap it back to the original assets, combine those assets into the liquidity pool tokens, put the LP token back into the farm, and earn the same rewards and repeat the process over and over and over again. This is how they print money so quickly for you, precisely because it's so cheap. And that's why we call it a money printer. Okay. Now a question came in. What does it cost to use an auto compounder? All right. Now, an auto compounder is an automatic program. It is an algorithm that does this entire loop over and over again for you. Okay. So you only have to pay your gas one time to deposit your LP token into an auto compounder. Okay. But where the auto compounder takes money off you is that every time it harvests your yields, right? Every time it harvests the sushi and Matic to convert to BTC and ETH, every time it does that harvest, it takes a small percentage and pockets it. It can be as low as 0.1% or even lower. They just take a small amount, but small amounts many times a minute, times many users, times many pools across that same platform results in becoming a multi-million-dollar business. Okay, hope you understand that. All right, so in terms of cash coming out of your pocket, you only pay the gas the one time. But these yields that you pay to the auto compounder, treat it like an asset management performance fee. Right? The asset manager, whether it is a hedge fund, whether it's a traditional mutual fund, they collect fees from you every year to tax you on your returns. Right? Now the auto compounder does exactly the same thing. It taxes you on your yields, keeps a small portion of that for doing the work of automating this process for you. right? Okay. Now, Matic is also a billionaire's choice. Mark Cuban, famous reality star on Shark Tank, right? Famous owner of the Dallas Mavericks, right? He has invested in Polygon as well. Now, Mark Cuban is not the same as Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk just loves to tweet rubbish. Elon Musk loves to talk about Doge, say, post random memes about Bitcoin. You know, he gets the sense, you get the sense that he's just treating it like a joke, right? But Mark Cuban takes a look into DeFi a lot deeper than that. The things that he invested early on include NFT platforms like Mintable, DeFi platforms like Aave and Sushi, and now recently, Matic as well. Okay, so and I'm not saying that this is a buy signal. I'm just saying that take a look. Billionaires are actually interested in this platform as well. Okay, that's a good question. Iron Finance. Well, it comes with the territory, right? You want to take a little bit of risk to make that kind of returns. Once in a while, you get rugged. Okay, have I been rugged? Of course. I think any DeFi trader, any DeFi platform farmer, they realize that risk is part of the game. And in order to make those returns, you got to try it out. And sometimes when you're trying it out, it's an accident that happens and you lose your money. Okay, so yep, it's just part of a learning lesson, and you're right to point it out. Pretty good current awareness. Okay, so let's talk about some criticisms. Polygon is not, if it's so good, everyone will be buying Polygon now, and it'll be $100 a coin, a Matic coin, right? So there's some criticisms. For example, it's very heavily centralized. The whole idea of DeFi is to be decentralized. The whole idea of blockchain is to be decentralized. But for Polygon, more than 50% of the network is controlled by Binance and Polygon themselves. Okay, so if they wanted to coordinate a 51% attack, this is theoretically saying that they can. Okay, do I think that the motivation to do that? I don't think so. But do I think it's theoretically possible? It is spelled out there. All right. More than 50% of the network is controlled by Binance and Polygon. Okay, so the validators can collude, they can manipulate, they can arbitrarily change transactions. That is the risk of centralized looking platforms. Okay, but the way Polygon is, I believe it is still in the middle, right? It's still in a state of transitioning. Blockchain, we're not that advanced that we can hop directly into decentralized formats yet. We still need an intermediate solution, and that's where Polygon exists. It is halfway between centralized and decentralized, and it is the temporary compromise that we have to be okay with for the time being. Okay, so to conclude, Polygon helps Ethereum to overcome the scaling challenges. Polygon presents a lot of opportunities to make money precisely because of these scaling solutions. Okay, your Matic bridges, your rollups, and in future you're going to see side chains and other enterprise chains as well. Okay, now but for now, as end users, as consumers, as people who are participating in the ecosystem, the money-making opportunities in DeFi are extremely real. I think you guys understand as well, right? In terms of our generation, this is probably the easiest and most obvious money-making opportunity in our generation, right? Every generation has got a thing to make money. In our generation, I believe it's in DeFi and blockchain. Okay, and you'll be fine as long as you're mindful of the risks associated with centralization. Okay, this is a great step forward. It was good time sharing this with you guys today, but I think one of you pointed out that you're here for the Kahoot. So I don't want to disappoint. Let's do the Kahoot, okay? So everyone take out your phones. Everyone take out your phones. We are going to play a game. I'm going to put up the pin on the screen. Just give me a second. We got 7 minutes to go. Okay, go to kahoot.it. The pin is 661-5613. I think there's a prize for the winners of the quiz. We have 38 participants today. less myself at 37. So we probably should see more than 30 people in this Kahoot, okay? We should see at least 30 people. It's 6 questions long, not too long. There's a prize at the end waiting for you guys. So if you're still considering whether you should join, please come in now. Okay, I'm going to give another 20 seconds for whoever still wants to join to come in before we start, okay? Price in Matic tokens, I believe your price is in stable coins, is it, Faye?
Yeah, the price is USDT.
All right, you get 10 USDT, which is about 9 Matics. Okay, all right, let's begin. 27. $10. Read carefully. Question number 1. What is a native token of the Polygon network? You guys are fast. Okay, most people got this right. Matic is the coin used on the Polygon network to pay for gas fees, to use for staking, to use for governance. So we call that the native token of the Polygon network. Okay. In an event that everybody has the same answer, it's fastest finger first that scores the higher points. Faye is right on top. Okay, Faye comes in at number 1. I assure you guys, Faye did not ask me about the quiz beforehand. Okay. All right, question number 2. What are some pain points that users experience on Ethereum? Okay, most people got this correct. Okay, the pain points for the two of you who pick low gas fees actually is the high gas fees that are pain point. Low gas fees is ideal. We want close to 0 gas fees, right? And that is what Polygon offers. High gas fees, that is the real pain point. Okay, so network congestion, most of you got this correct. You know, you click a transaction on Ethereum and you go watch a Netflix movie later and you're still not approved yet. Okay, so that is very, very slow, especially in times of heavy market activity, or especially in times when people are going crazy. You guys remember CryptoKitties in 2017? That was an example of network congestion. Okay. All right, we'll see some reshuffling around. Shungard is back. Question number 3. What type of DeFi dApps have the highest total value locked? Perfect. Okay, so your money markets, your decentralized banking platforms such as Aave, Compound, Venus, these are the platforms with usually the highest TVL. Usually also decentralized exchanges have high TVL, but the rest are not so much dependent. The rest, like here, like NFTs or computer games, they're not so dependent on TVL. Okay, those, you don't look at those metrics, you look at some other metrics instead. All right. Shungard is back defending the top spot. Abby, you're 3 points behind number 1. Go ahead, Abby. If you press a little bit faster, you should be able to overtake. Okay. Which billionaire has announced an investment in Matic? Abby says, give chance, Lay. Okay, Elon Musk talks about Bitcoin. He talks about Doge. He alludes to Cummies, but he hasn't talked about Matic or invested in Polygon yet. Okay, so Mark Cuban, most of you got this right. The ones in yellow and green, both are boomer billionaires, so they don't touch crypto. Okay. Ooh, Abby is overtaken by 7 points. Exciting. Okay, Chad still in third place. Chad, for a guy called Chad, you should be doing number 1 in this. All right, Shun, watch out, your $10 is at stake. What are some problems that Polygon has? Okay. Problems of Polygon include the fact that more than half the network is controlled by Binance and Polygon themselves. Okay. As for number 3, as for unstable connection, we've never mentioned that. In fact, this is not even a part of the discussion. And as for no network activity, that's not true either. Polygon has $5 billion of assets on it, remember? And a decent amount of total unique addresses as well. Okay. So, oh man, Chad, with that motivation, he has jumped to the top. Okay, so we got a new number 1. We've lost Evie, I see. Which is not part of how the Matic bridge works. This was complicated. I'll give you that. It was not meant to be an easy question because the problem with Kahoot is that if it's so easy, it just becomes a fastest finger first game. All right. So this question involved a little bit more reading. The only answer that's not correct in here is the fact that the token's circulating supply is duplicated. It is not true. All right. The tokens are either locked away on the Ethereum side or burned on the Polygon side. You don't have it existing on both sides at the same time because that will destroy your economy really fast. Okay, we call Matic a money printer, but we don't mean that we copy the money and keep making photocopies of them on both sides. Okay, so only 5 of you got this right. That's fine. There's a lot of reading to do on this slide, but let's see. This is the last question, so let's see how you guys did. In third place with 6 points, Kals. Second place.